Hello and welcome back to daily number 583, where we learn to be a better gamer from DeMusliM. There's one thing I wanted to spend a brief bit of time explaining after the recap, which is the Marauder tech choice. But first, in part one, we mainly looked at a lot of the implications of the build, a lot of the technical timings about why stuff's working and why we're like building our command center on high ground, some of the SCV scout timing, the Reaper scout timing, and that sort of thing. So now we're going to look at this follow-up choice to go for the Marauders, and we're going to be looking at DeMusliM's money count a lot and being like, well, he has no money. In short, if you are devoting so much to upgrades, you're not only starting early on. If you're devoting so many resources to upgrades by starting them so early, you're going to be lower on gas by a huge margin, which and also lower on units by a sort of small to middle-ish margin. Because the money you spent on the engineering base and the upgrades is less money you could have devoted to more barracks, rounding out the rest of your tech with Vikings and Ghosts and that sort of thing. So the way that we can exploit this as well is by going for Marauders and getting a lot of aggression out of these Marauders. By doing a lot of attacking. In other words, we're going to make our mid-game long, like a super freaking long mid-game. So here we have the engineering bay, the armories going down. And one could say, well, gee, if you're going to be low on gas because the upgrades, couldn't you just get these gas geysers here? Well, look at the SCV count. DeMusliM, saturated in his main, has 16, I guess I'll use as the number for saturated. 16 is 2 per patch, so that's like optimal for each base. 16 here. So he actually doesn't even really have SCVs to spare to be able to do that. We're going to see this gas count and just plummet down, down, down. Gas on the medevacs, gas on the Marauders. And there you go. Look, there's another starport going down. Bam. All the tech labs. I think it is fine to go for the mariningness. It's just a little, it's a little bit less tough in general. I like getting the reactor here, but because of these upgrades and because of how late these 3 barracks are, I favor the Marauders in this position. I mean, look at this. We're getting like we're going to have our 2-2 upgrades finished in 3 minutes. They'll be finished in 15 minutes, which is generally when a Protoss player is thinking to himself, I'm definitely way ahead in ups. Only a super fast Protoss would have his 3-3 ups by 15 minutes. And that's fine, because we totally messed with him hard early on. So DeMusliM is definitely slowly getting these gas geysers up. But look at the lowness on the gas. Look at how low he doth go. And not even really building that many medevacs. A lot of gas being burned. Not a lot of availability to like go for the ghosts and that sort of stuff, but that's fine because we have these sorts of follow-up pushes, which I will aptly demonstrate can kill a lot of things. Come on DeMusliM. Just carefully going back and forth, waiting for those 2-2 upgrades. And then everything dies almost immediately. 2-2 versus the Protoss 1-1. Very uncommon to see Protoss behind in upgrades, even if Protoss got totally boned at the start. I want to go into a longer game. I'm going to quit this and I hope it doesn't crash. Good. We didn't crash. We're going to take a look at a longer game between DeMusliM and Root Gaming's Puck, if I can find it. Where is it? It is on Belchier Vestige. Belchier Vestige, où est toi? Ah! Et voilà! C'est fantastique. In this game, we are going to do 2 things. One, we're going to re-look at the opening. And make sure that we're right on track. All that shit was cool. Oh, that's the best part of the daily thus far. I should actually just quit my job right now. That was incredible. Wow, I don't even remember what I was talking about. High five, Sean. Yeah. We're just going to look at the opening to make sure that we are on point. That everything is going reasonably well. We're going to see a different opening from Puck, so we'll see a little bit of variation. And, most importantly, this game will show us two big key differences. One, what does it look like if we get messed with really hard in the opening? And two, we're going to see that in the course of being messed with, what it feels like to be low on gas and what some of the consequences for DeMusliM are. Let's go. Almost weirdly enough, you do kind of need that third base and those geysers to go very Marauder heavy. Because you don't need a ton of extra gas, but you at least need some. DeMusliM's going for his T-post. And then DeMusliM's gonna get up his barracks and soon enough a gas, but not before 13. And by that I mean like on 12. I want you to know, generally speaking, if you want to get the Reaper to start right when the barracks is done, you build the barracks and the refinery on the same supply. It doesn't matter if it's 8-8. It doesn't matter if it's 11-11, 12-12. What messed me up was that I was so focused on the beauty of the song that I was distracted, and for that I'm sorry. I will stay focused and not be silly anymore. Alright. And he gets his gas, and then soon enough he's gonna get his Reaper a doo-wop, and he walls it off. Oh, and the SCV heads out when the barrack's done to make sure no zealot will ruin his fun. I drooled harder than I like to normally drool. Alright, DeMusliM, he's checking out the base. Sees no zealot, sees a chrono boost going down. We'll stop by the watchtower just to make sure there ain't no zealot coming up. But what do you know, Joe? It's a reactor and a command center. We're expecting a 4:45 arrival of an engineering bay. Let's go ahead and look at the money just to make sure that that's consistent with what we're seeing. Very easy to trick yourself into thinking that you can build the engineering bay right now. It's very easy to perform that error. But keep in mind our reactor's almost done, so we're going to need to be down in that money really soon. I know I ate my words really hard there. I don't even care. I don't even care. I don't even give a damn. Rarely do I make the biggest deal out of something and then the exact opposite happens the next second. It's very rare that that happens. However, I refuse to budge on this point. I refuse to budge. I refuse to do that. Here's the thing. This reactor, when it finishes, I'm going to show you. When it finishes, if we don't have enough money to do this, to go for the double marine, then this was horrible. We also have a supply depot coming up that we need to account for. I'm going to go ahead and trust DeMusliM, but I don't trust you. And I know you're going to get overexcited. You're going to be like, maybe I can build it at 3:45 instead of 4:45. Maybe. But then you can't build anything else, and that's bad. What a disaster this is. What a... Wow. Day 9. Did Day 9 just suggest that we build a landing pad for the Hindenburg on the Titanic? Is that the purpose? Listen, if you want a flaming ship, a place to land, you want to land it somewhere where there's a lot of water nearby. Alright, that's fine. I'm sort of fine with all of this. Alright, and there's the supply depot. And a +1, and Marines, and an SCV. immaculately timed. So good. So DeMuslim's trying to do a lot of pokeing here. He's seeing, this Nexus is a little late. 2 Stalkers, a little bit suspect. Early bunker, makes absolute total perfect sense. Oh, that's what is that what he cut earlier in the game? Yeah, okay. The thing that he was building earlier last game, I think was the bunker, but I don't really care too much. The point still stands. Do not ever want to run the risk. Oh, okay, alright, thank God all this stuff happened. Alright, I'm coming back. Alright, remember when I was like, it shouldn't be built because there's money concerns? Something felt like he shouldn't be able to build it right now, and I couldn't quite put the finger on it. And the answer is the bunker. The bunker is the thing upon which I could not put the finger on before. We do need this early bunker. Otherwise, we will die. We will not get our base up. We want this early bunker. So, DeMusliM does, in fact, build the depot. Starts to build the depot and then goes, wait, no, I can't do that. I gotta build the bunker. Oh, God, I forgot to get up a bunker. It doesn't really matter. Can I be honest? Like, everything I'm saying does not... All these focusing on these little things doesn't really matter that much. There's just a basic statement. Building out of your buildings, building SCVs, and building supply depots takes precedence over tech. What a disaster. Oh, okay, alright, okay, he's loading in the bunker, good, okay. Engineering bay coming up, perfect. It's perfect. DeMusliM is going to try to do a little ajustement. We saw Flash do this last night in the GSL. Was it last night? Yeah, it was last night. We saw Flash do this last night in the GSL. Sneaking out this barracks is a nice little optimization, but Flash was unable to support this barracks with the additional add-on. So this is kind of a similar game, except this factory is now late. Before, the factory was started around 6 minutes, and now it's starting around 7 minutes. And a lot of that is because this barracks kind of got in the way. So we can't really do any sort of mega fast harass. We won't have stim quite done at the early time when we want. And I think it's fair that if this is going up quite late, turrets are going to make a heck of a lot of sense. DeMusliM looks like he's prepared for some sort of big air counterswing, which is great. Here is our +1 armor coming up, so we're not really going to have any 9-minute timing because the stim's a little late, and most importantly of all, the starport's a little late, but we certainly will have that 11-minute timing up. So that's nifty. And then Dark Templars come up, and DeMusliM preemptively is like, whoa, I saw the blur. Goes up on the run. Gets on, gone, out of there. And the missile turret in the main. So now, this is both good and bad for us. The way in which this is good is that, alright, we're going to be defending for a while anyways. We're probably going to be defending for the next, minute or so. So this will give us time for our +1 to finish up. So we have a nice counter swing against Puck. However, we are low on bases. In particular, we're going to be really low on gas. So remember that struggle I was talking about last game where we can't quite go for like upgrades and a lot of bio and all the rest of our tech and have a big army. The normal way that Terran players play kind of guarantees that they will have a big army but might have a little bit later of upgrades so that way they can get kind of earlier Vikings. Our army is going to be a little bit smaller because we're going to be spending so much on these upgrades. So that panned out very well. Very, very well for DeMusliM. But now let's think this through. What are the options for DeMusliM? Certainly, 3 barracks pressure is going to be 100% sensible. We're going to have all our upgrades, combat shield, stim, 1-1, done, done. But look at the lowness of the gas. 29 gas, and has just started these Marauders. Or excuse me, just started these medevacs. Even these Marauders are going to be kind of a strain on the good old econ. So DeMusliM does indeed have to get these extra gas geysers up right away, and if he wants to use this engineering bay, he's going to have to get the armory up right away. So DeMusliM now knows he has to be very, very aggressive. Almost certainly he has the upgrade lead, and he can figure this out just by walking up and clicking on the unit and going, oh, look at that, I have the upgrade lead. So DeMusliM will go for the armory to make use out of the early engineering bay. He will get the refineries to be able to do all this good old shenaniganry. But we're going to have almost no gas even to go for additional Vikings or an additional starport. DeMuslim's got to do a lot of pressure for a long time. So we're just going to watch him do that. So first of all, the good old planetary nexus. How strong is it? Not strong enough, says DeMusliM. Not strong enough at all. That would be so funny if you just won the game here. I made a big deal out of it. Cool. So there's a little discussion between Puck. You saw the mules drop. I saw it. Puck's... She's a little bit confused. DeMuslim's confused at Puck's confusion. Wow, both of them are microing very well. But either way, I think at this time they had sparred before on the ladder. I don't know. I don't even know what the context of that discussion is. Either way, I think that this is a smart play from DeMusliM. With his extra funds, should he get a third first, or should he get the extra barracks first? This is a very common question in pretty much any Terran vs. Protoss. It normally happens around the 830 to 845 mark, where you should have a little extra money, and as Terran, you should say, do I want to go for extra barracks with this 350 bucks, or do I want to hold a bit and get the extra command center up for an earlier third? Most players tend to opt for the earlier third. If you're bomber, somehow you get both. But in this spot where DeMuslim's been kind of pressured, it's unclear what the specifics of the timing are. All DeMusliM knows is that he is going to be ahead on upgrades for quite some time, so he's going to leverage that by getting more barracks. Oh, I'm slightly annoyed right now. Well, she did lose the warp prism with the 2 DTs in it, so... So DeMusliM, of course, getting the third command center at some point. You heard me talk about the desire to get Marauders. We're literally so low on gas choices, especially because we're kind of wanting to get an extra engineering bay up. And also, we just got to do a lot of damage that I think it's fine for the Marines here. I mean, in short, this is the standard composition that most Terran players are pretty much like, yeah, that's the money mix. 2 reactors, 3 tech labs. And there's the extra engineering bay. Go to it, damn it. There it is. I was trying to click in the picture. So DeMusliM is being ridiculously, insanely aggressive. Just blasting on all cylinders, trying to get in there. In the Terran's head, you're going to be thinking, gosh, I have to do damage. What can I pick off? I'm going to continue to deny thirds. I'm going to continue to work my way up and reinforce. Yep, like that. Because I'm on a ticking time bomb. Or I'm on a timer. He's either going to get Storm or Colossus really soon, and I don't even have this third base up. Still have some DT problems. So DeMusliM does yet another follow-up, which I think is a really smart continuation. Step 1, alright, we're probably ahead in upgrades, or we're definitely ahead when we have 1-1. And we're probably going to continue to be ahead. So, since he's so gas broke, DeMusliM is not going to be going for Vikings or Ghosts. He's going to be dumping all his gas into these engineering bays, and then just going heavy bio. Which I think is a really smart choice. Heavy bio plus aggression. That's actually how I'd describe it. So certainly this is a difficult spot, but the macro's really insane. This mine, I'm not going to analyze at all. So he built a mine. Big deal! Also, an SCV here is much obliged. Actually, is that where he's going to send this mine? He may very well just burrow the mine right there. Something needs to check this. Now for the latest orbital command ever. I don't mind an orbital command there as much. I think that's fine. And DeMusliM will do the latest decision of tech ever. Normally around 11 to 13. The Terran player will commit to Ghosts or commit to Vikings. DeMusliM wait till the 17-minute mark to do either of those. But yeah, good old mass biopressure. And here comes something sweet. 1 medevac up top. This is a play that's only possible once the Protoss secures a third. We've been going for so many medevacs. Why not make use of them? Yeah! So there's 1 medevac popping down, and there's all the other medevacs popping down. Control-wise, this is really hard to do, and you have to be very focused, and you have to be very good at controlling an army while macroing back home, which DeMusliM is. But conceptually, I would say it's intermediate in terms of complexity. Identifying, wow, yeah, I'm ahead in upgrades, so I'm going to make something happen by being really aggressive on the ground. I think we're just going to speed this game up and wrap it up. And then I guess we'll watch one more that I think was one of the first executions that DeMusliM ever did of this. It was a very sloppy looking game. All these games have been really cleanly executed, but I don't know if he was tabbed or on Skype or just trying it for the first time or whatnot. DeMusliM really has not done any big plays other than just be really aggressive at the front. Or any big plays other than this drop. For the most part, he's just been aggressive at the front. Killing off one of those dudes. So, I think it's really notable the amount of aggression that DeMusliM showed while he was at 1-1 and then 2-1, and how little aggression he's displaying now. It's a little more typical. Essentially just, again, that statement of, well, I was in the position where I knew I was ahead on upgrades and not ahead in a lot of other ways, so I will leverage that by going for the barracks. Alright, speeding up. Not much more to say except that DeMusliM has his death army. He's got an army of death. Protoss thinks it's the best. Here comes the EMPs. Oh! Will the Templar get snatchy-snatchied? Will they get snatchy-snatchied? Who can tell my commentary has devolved into singing because DeMusliM's returned to me. And the game ends. Alright, when we come back, we're just going to watch another little bonus game and then just take some questions. Pretty straightforward. Good. Good.